My name is Mark Brevard, and I am the Community Outreach Manager for New England Donor Services. On this special day, we would like to honor all of our donor moms for the decision they made to give the gift of life so that they can save another human being. There are 112,000 persons waiting on the waiting list. More than 18 persons die each day. So it is so important that we register to become an organ and tissue donor. We are happy to have with us today a donor mom, Dara Brooks, who is from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and she will share her story.
Hi, my name is Dara Brooks, and I am a volunteer with Donate Life. I'm also an organ donor, and I've also been a living-related donor. I wasn't always an organ donor. I wasn't even sure whether it was something I wanted to do. However, when my son was born, Tyler Haywood Smith, on September 4th, 1991, I was told when I was due to have a C-section that I needed to be rushed in because something was wrong. When I woke up after having a C-section, they told me I was very lucky because my son had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. I immediately was happy. A couple of days later, we were on our way to go home, and I was told we needed to wait a few more minutes. We asked why, and they said, well, we want to run some additional tests. Give us about another hour or so. We waited 3 hours. 3 hours later, they come in and they tell us that Tyler's a little jaundiced and that they have already called my doctor and that what I need to do immediately on Monday, take him up to the hospital. We go through the weekend, and obviously we were a little concerned. What does it mean he's jaundiced? Couldn't we just do some lights? And we'd asked this question. They had said to us, no, they thought it was a little more than that, and they wanted to be sure. So please just sign this paper and make sure on Monday we go to the doctor. Monday we went up to the doctors, and they were very happy to see Tyler, told us how cute he was, but told us immediately that they had already talked to the hospital, and they wanted us to go to the hospital instead of to their office, which at this point I was at the pediatrician's office. We went up to the hospital. They had us see a doctor. The doctor explained to us that they had already looked at Tyler's test, and that they wanted to run some additional tests. And we said, okay, additional tests, is that today? And they said, yeah, we're gonna start running it today. But honestly, we're gonna run a few tests today, a few tests tomorrow, and honestly, for the next 2 weeks, you're gonna have a few different types of tests. We're doing living-related surgeries, transplants. We looked into it. We saw that we could be a possible candidate for it. So we decided it was something we wanted to do. We went home for a week. But right after going home, Tyler started getting a temperature. And before we knew it, my son was sick again, very sick. He was in the ICU. The transplant, there was a rejection. He was rejecting the liver. Before we knew it, we were being told that there was nothing they could do for him. So we sat around, and I watched my son get sicker and sicker and sicker until eventually my son passed away. I can remember the day that it happened. You never forget. But I remember in particular us sitting in the waiting room and both my first husband and I having a aha kind of moment where we both looked at each other and said, no one's come over us and asked us if Tyler could be a donor. And we go up to the desk and they said they're on their way. Because believe it or not, even though Tyler was on a ventilator for a good amount of time, his heart was still pumping and doing really well. We were told that his heart could be transplanted. We were happy to say yes to the transplant because we didn't want anyone to ever go through what we had been through. So today, as I said, now I'm proud to tell my story as much as I can. It's therapy for me. It also makes me think and feel like all of this wasn't done in vain. So today I have a daughter, Alexis, who's 31, getting ready to get married next year. I'm remarried again to a husband who's been great to me. And I tell my story as much as I can. And people have come to me and said, it's made a difference. I hope it makes a difference to you. I hope hearing about my story makes you understand the importance of organ donation. There are many people waiting on the list. If you're ready, go to registerme.org and become an organ donor. Thank you, and happy Mother's Day.
Good morning to you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of this moment and being a part of this Sunday morning. Good morning to you. Man, my big head is not in all the way in there. Yes, sir. Boom, booda, booda, bada, bada. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. If you would take this moment, we're on Instagram and Facebook Live. Good morning to everyone. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice. Somebody hear this and be glad in it. I am excited and glad to be a part of your morning. Thank you for sharing. My name is Kenneth Mose Jr. I'm the senior pastor of the Cathedral of the Holy Spirit here in the amazing city of Bridgeport, Connecticut. I don't think we're on Facebook yet. All right. As we're still pulling up, just give us a moment, if you would. Those of you on Instagram, thank you so much for being a part of our Sunday morning. Oh, where's my voice? Our Sunday morning experience. We have Sunday school. Like what? Sunday school, yes. When you actually go through the Bible with people, like very important attribute or